Welcome to the Essential Libertarians, giving you the tools for self-governance. Today I have a very special guest, Erica, the Earth Nerd Anarchist, who is a green anarchist and an anarcho-egoist, I believe. Erica, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
And we also have Insanity is Free, Jeremiah Harding from Agorist Nexus. Definitely go give it a look. He talks about different topics relating to free market anarchy and how you can implement that in your daily life. And if you like what he's writing, please donate to his Patreon so you can help him out and so he can continue his work. All right.
And of course, giving you Alex Jones style mukbangs right now because I just went on a 12.5 mile run with some bone broth in me. So
you're going to start shilling X3. I'm the best curcumin ever. It's the best.
See, no, because you can get all the stuff that's in his pills and food, and that would go against my ethos.
Yeah. Got to shill some supplements. Okay, so basically,
I mean, if they paid me a fuck ton of money, I would do it because that's still fine stuff to like eat, but yeah. I wouldn't buy it. I get my shit from better sources already.
Yeah, well, I talk about crypto projects. Some make it, some don't. So that's the reality of the thing. However, my purpose or the reason I am talking to other anarchists is even though I'm an ANCAP myself and I do believe that yes, free market anarchy is a good idea, other people have different interpretations of anarchy, and if we get to the point where we decentralize all government, I want to understand how we can work together. And I guess Jeremiah coined the term anarcho-coalitionism or anarcho-coalitionist, and I like that idea because at first I used to have the notion, okay, well, it's only anarcho-capitalist. And I thought that's kind of ridiculous. You know, why have I never looked at what ANCOMs are saying? Why haven't I ever looked what syndicalists are saying? And even I went farther. I'm like, I never took anarcho-primitivism seriously. Let me talk to John Zerzan. Me and Jeremiah had a good conversation with him. I saw that you have green anarchy on there, so I want to understand more about what that is. Is that similar to primitivism? Is that saying we need anarchy in an ecological sense or relating to the environment, or how does that specifically work?
Well, for me, it like leans toward primitivism, but doesn't go that far. There are some things I don't necessarily like, parts of primitivism that I don't love so much. So it's like it stops at where people with disabilities basically get left behind. Like it probably stopped there, but like
Ted K.
Still keeping, yeah.
Kaczynski.
I mean, yeah, but like basically keeping in mind the environment in one's manifestation of anarchism, and like that's for me that's a big component. Like they're tied together. The government uses like entices people with things that are environmentally harmful, and like they make us think that we need these things and that things like life has to be this way, and then they like either create a shortage or they'll like I don't know, just there's like, I don't know, the government just like will use it against you. Like they'll make you dependent on things and then take them away. And I don't know, I'm getting off in the weeds, but my point is that it's an important component in anarchism.
Yeah. Well, one thing I found that was good about the primitivist side, because I used to be an ANCAP because I said, well, I want to have technology and I want to just push it further. I used to be one of those guys, like push the blockchain further. AI is great. Everything's great. How could it be bad? I actually used to be almost on the, I wasn't as bad as Elon Musk saying, hey, AI is like summoning a demon and then making AI. But yeah, I used to be a proponent of that. And I'm like, wait, this has gone too far. These globalists are going to use it for very nefarious means. I need to slow down. I also noticed some terrible things that happen, just with regular technology. Like, let's talk about, the fact that a lot of people who want to work regular jobs, just people who want to work, they always say apply online. I'm like, what does somebody who works in a restaurant have to apply online? It was better when they could fill out a piece of paper. Even things like cars, you're like, okay, cars are great, right? But now people who want to walk, which is a good way to burn stuff off if you don't want to exercise, or if you want to get 12 miles in by walking, you could do it. But the problem is now you need to access places that generally need a car, so it's now dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So
everything
I do see
is
that
spread out now to like, because it before it was like like you could have a car as sort of a novelty, whereas now it's a necessity. Like
yes.
everything is spread out now. Everything used to be close together and you could just like walk somewhere, but now everything is all spread out and
Urban sprawl.
yeah, it's unnatural and
Yeah.
like
And
creates
also
dependence on cars, which like I think everyone present knows the issues of the automotive industry.
And also, like, to your earlier point, Harry Brown, libertarian guy, put it this way. He said the government is good at one thing. It knows how to break your legs and then hand you a crutch and say, see, if it weren't for the government, you wouldn't be able to walk.
Exactly. That's exactly what they do. Like, especially with stores, like with grocery stores, like stuff like that, corporation, like the stores of corporations, like they get people to rely on that shit. And then they're like, oh, well, if you don't have that, you're abnormal, but you need to like struggle to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with what we say you should have. And I don't know. It's just really gross.
Yeah, I think the problem is the interdependency, and then people, even free market anarchists, have to take a look and say, hey, even if there is no government, what are the constraints on technology, and what have we done that's even going too far? Even like microplastics now, like, yes, part of it I do believe is because of negligence, but part of it just because it's cheap, but it's destroying everything. It could honestly, in my opinion, destroy human life if plastics get too much, because they're in too much food. They mess with people's estrogen levels, they mess with testosterone, and eventually you have a society where people need help to even just to get normal function of who they are, and that's not normal. Like that, you know.
And they tell you to stay like sedentary, and they tell you to like consume these products in your home, get like a bunch of takeout, you know, have a bunch of this, like, don't cook your own food, and all of this stuff, and it prices like the very poor out of like the social conditions. And it also means that people are reliant upon heavily polluting mega corporations, like, for all their shit. And so like these people are like sort of just absorbing and consuming this stuff, being sedentary, becoming unhealthy, and then becoming reliant on the medical system, on welfare, on a bunch of things, because, you know, they accepted the consumerist lifestyle, which trended them all downward. Like, you know, that's why I tell people, you know, you got to get out there and like exercise. I just got done with 12.5 miles myself, and, you know, it was so that I could do my fucking errands and also come back with like my workout complete and get my like weekly large amount of cardio in. Also, it's Sonic Frontier's release date, and it would be a bad idea for me to not run in celebration of such. But the general vibe is that like they want you to be weak so that you're dependent on this shit.
Yeah, they actively hide your natural hormone cycle. Like for both men and women, like they don't teach you about your natural hormone cycle, and then they try to feed you this like synthetic BS, and they're like, "Oh, well, be like for men, it's like you need like be like weak and feminine, and you know, like don't like rely on our schedule, like whatever your job says, and don't know about your hormone cycle. We're not going to teach you about that. We're, you know, and same with women. It's like, you know, forego your own natural hormone cycle and the way that your body works. So we're going to give you a pill that you're going to take, and like that's just how it's going to be. Like, no, don't worry about instincts. Don't worry about like, you know, your body telling itself that something's wrong or something's off. Like, rely on us.
And here's where I might piss off some leftists. They teach you to be a hoe. That's a key part of the consumerist culture. And then when they teach you how to be a hoe, they teach you how to be a consequence-free hoe and get you dependent on birth control to continue hoeing.
Also,
and that ends up in the water,
because that's not.
And then there's problems like even the water. Like water should be okay to drink. It shouldn't like okay, fine. I have a filter. I put Himalayan sea salt, but like you have to go to extents to like okay, I have to learn how to filter my own water. Like my own water should be okay just to hit the tap, and that's not even okay. And I largely blame government for that. With all that, though, my question being from a green anarchist perspective, can you use technology, though, or do you see that there's any like upsides? Like if I make decentralized currency, if I find ways to do reverse osmosis, if I improve, I
She
don't
can't
think.
use technology. She is speaking to you psychically.
No, I mean like. Here's
No,
the thing.
well, I know
there's
what you're
people that
saying.
say
Like, there's
there's
what we
nothing.
do, and then there's like what we co-sign ethically or whatever. Like, I understand what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
for me, it's like I'm of the use as little as possible, and also there are let's say devices from the past that were just fine, and we didn't need to make a modern version, like cell phones.
Smartphone, yeah.
We didn't need that. What was wrong with like house phones? What was wrong with like even the more basic cell phones?
Flip
Like,
phones lasted forever. Like literally,
yeah, they
a flip
lasted
phone.
forever.
Yes.
And
Flip
like
phones will
they
outlast the Rothschilds, which they did. Evelyn Rothschild died. Woo!
woo.
If you
But
haven't heard.
they
Rothschilds are a bloodline. They're still here.
but so
Yeah, they are.
the thing about that is like there are certain elements of technology that were fine where it was, and we didn't need to, like, now smartphones have like planned obsolescence, and like they're planned to die, and you have to spend another $2,000 on a phone, and that's ridiculous to me. There was nothing wrong with house phones. There was nothing wrong with like certain pieces of technology throughout history that we could have just stuck with, but and so with that, like, there's that mentality, and then there's also like use as little as possible. You still need to know how to talk to people. You still need to know how to like socialize, and like it's preferable if you do. You still need to be active up and out of your house, like, that's where I'm at. It's like use as little as possible, and if you have to, stick to what was fine, and if you can't do that, then like just cutting back is more my thing. I don't want to say like no technology never, but like
Go as
some
far as some of the primitivists. Yeah.
some people, like the people that actually claim primitivism, like they're probably much more harsh about it than I am. I just lean that way.
So funny enough, some of it even like because I look at sometimes anarchists when they push it all the way, like, okay, fine, anarcho-capitalist. Sometimes I'm like, oh, well, here's how private police would work. And I'll sit down and tell my friends at band practice, see, Jeremiah did, like, here's how I think private police could work. Here's how I think private defense companies could work. I've talked to people who are primitivists. They even go and say like, well, Kareem, I think agriculture was a mistake. And then I said, why? And they said, well, you could feed more people, which you can, but the food quality is less. It's less nutrient dense. Also, they even said like time and language causes a problem because people could speak telepathically. I know that. I know Jeremiah was saying that as a joke earlier, but what John Zerzan would probably say if you really got down to it is like, look, language was a joke. We could actually communicate telepathically. We could do stuff like our ancestors did. And that's not a lesser form of technology because it actually doesn't need the constraint of a device. You can, that actually exists in nature and you can tap into it. Me, I'm in the middle. I do like the arguments. I don't want to take people off disabilities or life support. But I do want to tell people, hey, even if you get your free market anarchist society, try to reconnect with nature. Try to see what the primitivists and the green anarchists are saying and other forms of anarchy because you're going to still miss stuff. Rothbard had a good view of the world, but there's still other views we need to look at.
Well, even if let's say we don't take anybody off, like we're not taking anybody off life support or whatever the case may be, like it's still, in my view, important for people to band together and take care of each other and get back to that sense of community. I talk about that until I'm blue in the face. Like a sense of community is so important, and like this current society just lacks that. It's isolation, don't talk to your neighbors, stay at home, don't ever do anything, like, and that's not healthy. It's not natural. It's not like it's not good for anybody. So those people are going to need to be taken care of anyway. So why not, like, who's going to build the roads? You. Who's going to take care of the people like on hospice or the people that are on life support? You. Like,
well, also, like, maybe get rid of these artifacts of the bullshit past. Like, one of the things with that is a lot of ANCAPs are get off my lawn people. Fuck your lawn.
Oops.
Fuck all of your lawns. Grow food, not lawns. And you'll be less dependent on the corporate structure. You'll be more like, you'll have more of what you need because you made it. And you won't be wasting that valuable space with an invasive grass species that's useless. And also, like, lawns specifically, they're an artifact of statism. You would get slaves to cut your grass, and having a big ass fucking lawn was a way for a lord or king to say, I have a lot of land I stole, and I have the power to control people. Here's what they did to my land. It's fucked. Fuck your lawn. Fuck everyone's lawn.
Okay, but here's the thing. I have a lawn. Yes, I cut grass. I don't condone enslaving anybody at all. If someone just comes onto your property, I think you have the right to say, like, hey, I don't want you here because it's freedom of association. But I do
fuck
agree.
Your lawn anyway.
Would you consider not having a lawn?
You know what though?
And instead having like a food forest?
I mean, I'd like to. I mean, I'm slowly, creating like little, like I have plants off to the side here, plants off to the side here, plants off to the side here. But I think there's, good and bad to it. I don't think, but a food forest would be nice.
The point of that would be reducing your dependence on corporations, reducing the dependence on the grocery store and on farmers. Ultimately, you would be like, everything that you can grow, like, that's yours. It's cheaper. It's like more environmentally friendly. You're like not as dependent on the corporations, which are an arm of the government. So
you don't have to get like, pesticides because you can just get ladybugs. You don't have to get you don't have to like worry about pests because you can just get like plants that repel them and are also edible. Like, there's a lot of examples of things you can do that, like, hey, maybe don't fuck up the environment and also benefit you and also fight the state. Because if you've got these solutions, if you've got your own green like patch where you're being green and your neighbor wants to trade some things with you, like, I cooked some ribeye steaks. Can I get like a pound? Can I get like a pound or two of your potatoes? You'll be like, yeah.
Bartering becomes an option, and also you have more control over the type of plant. Like, this is, I made a whole tweet thread about this one time, about how, like, in the grocery store you get like one kind of tomato, one kind of cucumber, one kind of pepper. There are hundreds of varieties, and we're not taught this in school. Like, you can go to what is that website? There's Mi Gardener is a YouTuber that
a really long URL
talks about it, and but his website has a bunch of like seeds and stuff that you can buy, and I mean, there's so many varieties of one type of produce, like tomatoes, hundreds of varieties, and like,
also
the grocery store only has one.
Real quick, if you want to support Agorist Nexus while growing your food forest, you can go to agoristacreseeds.com and use code Nexus for 20% off.
I get some seeds from you. I was gonna get them from Heirloom, but I can get them from you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Because like basically, you get 20% off the listed price using the code Nexus, and you also get 20% of your purchase goes to the Nexus so that we can make content.
So my boy Josh Sergensen, who's on Band Up Video World Alternative Media, does stuff with also G. Edward Griffin and the Red Pill Expo and stuff in Salt Lake, which is a cool event.
Did you say Sigurdsson?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get along.
I mean, okay. But I still think he puts good info out there. I still think he does a good job with World Alternative Media, him and Luke Bernowski. But he was talking about tower gardens like hydroponics. Is that also
that shit is so badass?
Aquaponics, not hydro. Aquaponics.
Well, you can do both. There's no reason
but
you can't do both.
Don't just do aquaponics because fish are fine.
Don't listen to him. You can
That's
do
so
both.
Status, man.
Okay.
Tell me I can't have a lawn.
It is like.
Well, you can do hydroponics if you want. I just think it's better to have fish shitting into your fertilizer.
I mean, that works. But the reason, like, and here's my thought process, is like you could build an aquaponic setup and you're going to end up with, or you could build an aquaponic setup and then end up with a bunch of scraps and create a hydroponic setup. And like, there are certain variations of that are really simple that you can utilize the circular economy and thrift parts that you
describe the circular economy. People might not have heard the term.
Yeah,
okay, so let me see if I can pull up. I'll pull it up.
You don't need to pull it up. Come on, you've described it to me before.
Okay, so all right, we're gonna try this. All right, so the circular economy is like, okay, I need a thing, so I'm going to, instead of going to a store, instead of going to a corporation for it, I'm going to go to a thrift store, or I'm going to like secondhand it somehow, like with what is it called? Clothing swaps or whatever I'm looking for. Like flea markets,
free cycle.
Like yeah, free cycle. You're going to a secondhand source for your thing, and it like keeps going. Like
instead of going into a straight line from the corporation to a landfill.
Instead of it having the product, whatever the product is, having a life cycle where it's made, consumed, and goes to die in the landfill, it keeps being used. It like gets bought, gets used, gets cleaned, or whatever the case may be, and then resold and used, and like it's going around in a circle instead of like buy, consume, throw it in the landfill.
And like it's even better than that, because before you buy it, it's produced, and that's just more resources from wherever they got it. So it's essentially like, instead of digging more out of the earth and wounding the planet more, you like just get the thing you need from a place that isn't like Walmart or whatever.
That's
you might not
metals?
You might not need
mining?
You might not get your American Eagle in your khakis so that you can look like Leeson, but you know, you'll get things that you can wear.
But it's gonna look, it'll look different, like, and that's okay.
I want to run another 12 miles, man.
Well, actually, I hope to do that at some point. I hope to double my 20 miles is a goal very soon here, especially since it's snowing and like I can get a lot more running done because I'm not overheating with my fucking hyper-metabolic, hyper-hormonal ass.
Now, here's my question about like hurting the earth, because I hear a lot of stuff like this, and I want to kind of come up with a rational idea of this, because people talk about like global warming, but then they have like jets.
Most people who talk about global warming is so full of shit.
Yeah, but I do think there's stuff to be like recycling, making sure your water supply is not contaminated. But there are things I think that people take too far. Like, I'm not against Bitcoin mining. I'm not against having mining farms necessarily. I even got on Elon Musk when I said, I'm like, this dude is destroying whole mountains to get his lithium, but he's mad that we're mining Bitcoin, which I never did, but I had friends who would mine Bitcoin, and they're like, hey, Kareem, what's up? I'm like, how's it going, mate? He's like, let me double your Bitcoin. And he did. And he's like, I can't keep doing this. I'm running the power up real. He's like, I don't want to start a fire, but it was cool when he was doing it.
Well, so like part of that thing, like, you know, and I'm sure Erica's got some responses here, but anyone who wants to learn about this particular subject can read an article I wrote called "The Dollar is Killing the Planet" on agoristnexus.com, where I go over the contrast between the bullshit of the fucking piece of garbage that like normally do this bullshit, and like you know, oh, Bitcoin is so bad, but they use the dollar, and that's literally the petrodollar, and based on like banks and corporations and all these fucking technologies, it's the same hardware doing the same fucking kind of shit, but they're get to wax fucking because it's not Bitcoin and it's not new. But Bitcoin can be completely sustainable. You can have a solar panel or a wind farm or a shit farm, and you can just do whatever you want, like in terms of like, you know, producing electricity sustainably. Like that's how El Salvador did it. It's hooked up to a fucking volcano. So these people are garbage, and they need to. I can't say what I want them to do because I'm on YouTube, but YouTube knows what I'm about to say, so I don't have to. They should go do that. Anyway, go ahead, Erica.
Well, no, I actually like that's the point in that article, or a point in that article was what I was gonna make is like, well, and even you've made tweets about this, but like basically, the way that I rationalize it is like, well, we could be using the dollar, like, and like I'm not like the most informed, like I'm still learning about like Bitcoin and all that stuff. Like I'm still like really new to that, but like it still seems better than the dollar. And it's like I sort of use the way that I think about it. I just sort of like, I use it to sort of keep myself in line. Like you've probably seen Jeremiah do this. Like if somebody's like criticizing somebody for being environmentally like unfriendly, then he's usually like, oh well, like, but you use the dollar and you do this and do that, and that's, I sort of use it like that, like as a check myself, so I don't get too like holier than thou about being environmental.
Also, just one other thing, like if the people who made the dollar actually gave a fucking shit, a goddamn whore's fuck about like the environment, then they might not be doing the thing that's allegedly bad for the environment and creating their own cryptocurrency with the central bank digital currency. If it was really that big a fucking problem, then protest the goddamn governments, you stupid pieces of shit hypocrites. You goddamn garbage. Anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, but that article is really good, and it basically makes the point. Like I agree with that. So
okay, definitely. And from a green perspective, and I think we really agree here. I'm not saying take people off of disability or anything, but I think we could agree that Rockefeller destroyed the I don't even call it alternative medicine because I don't like that term. Like it's alternative natural medicine practices in America and a lot around the world, because he pushed the fact that, oh, look, these people are witch doctors. We have to use big pharma. We have to use licensed people and medical practitioners. So while I don't necessarily support, hurting anybody, taking people off stuff right away, I do support like, hey, if you have type 2 diabetes, if you have this, if you have obesity, if you have all these things, yes, work out, but there's also natural cures like Rife machines. There's quantum energy beds. There's things like, crystals like I have on. There's crystals to block from like EMF and things like that, which, shungite or shungite, things like that. From that perspective, what do you think about just completely going, or mostly 99% going the natural health route, where it's like, hey, I'm sick, instead of, even taking all these prescriptions or going here, or saying even you have to take ivermectin? What about getting sunlight, fasting, and using herbs and combinations of that?
I absolutely support that. Like
vitamin D.
I'm all for that. Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
No,
Goodbye.
the thing that I was gonna say was right before my internet cut. You were saying a sentence. Finish your sentence.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I definitely support that, and like I talk about that quite a bit, like how the government punishes people. Like, if you use the incorrect, like if you're like an herbalist or like someone who practices natural medicine, if you use the incorrect terminology, they will fuck you. Like, I don't know exactly which organization it is, but I've heard of people getting like extreme fines and had their places raided and shut down, like from just practicing natural medicine. And like, I can't understand why. I mean, I understand why, but I hate it that they treat people like this. Like they did that to indigenous people. Like, they're the ones that taught us most of how America's plants are beneficial to us, and what certain ailments they help with and stuff. Like but that's been taken from us, and like I hate how people are punished for knowing about it. And like,
Also, like to supplement what you're saying and to talk about supplements, people don't fucking know their nutrients, and parents in
right.
the school system and corporations aren't teaching them. Hey, you wanted to stop COVID? Maybe you should have taken more D3 and zinc and had your minerals balanced rather than relying on like the fucking treatment once you did get it. Maybe your immune system needs fucking bullshit and you're goddamn stupid if you don't like do that. And maybe this system wants us to be stupid and not looking into any of this, and they don't like want us to know that, hey, this stuff is in food, this stuff is in animals that we kill, but that we're told to throw away the bones. I just like finished off my
Yeah, we
latest like
both stand some bone broth.
I
You
finished
know.
off my latest like bucket of bone broth that I made, and I'm gonna go make another bucket of bone broth tomorrow.
That stuff is so healthy. You can give that to like little kids. Like, people don't, this is a small manifestation of this bone broth thing, but like I didn't think about it when I first became a mom. So I'm a mom, by the way. But I didn't realize, like, you can give kids bone broth just to like sip on, and it
Mhm.
will help with like colds and things like that. Like, and it's just good in general to give it to them, like at a certain age. And it
Hey,
just like
you need to drink milk. It has calcium and minerals in it. It's so good for you, but it
yeah,
also has a bunch of sugar. Don't give your kids bone broth, though. Throw
yeah.
out your
I'm not against
bones.
either.
I didn't know, and it like completely blew my mind when I saw another anarchist do that, like give her kid that was around the same age as mine bone broth. I was like, holy shit! Like, I'm missing out. Like, my baby's missing out on like
But the
nutrients here. I could be doing something about this.
but like you
And
said, the government, like to me anyway, you said that the
yeah,
government forces you to buy milk in
mhm.
in
Yeah, you
child
have to
abuse
buy it.
investigations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. I don't want to get too much down that rabbit hole, but yeah, they do like force you to uh, purchase certain things like milk, cheese, all that stuff. Like,
Regulatory capture. Go ahead.
and like if you don't, then you're considered like abusive, or a piece of shit parent. Like,
Despite milk being mostly sugar, you get the same amount of sugar in milk that you do in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but
Did
feeding
you know
your
that?
kid, yeah, yeah.
and like
Feeding your
some
kid
kids are
McDonald's
intolerant
is
to
great. Ba, 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 ba,
it.
ba. No one ever gets in trouble for that. Like, to me, that's people like honestly will feed their kids like fast food and stuff, and that's not an issue. Milk, I come down on if it's organic, like raw milk is healthy, and I'm all for raw milk.
Organics is a racket.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is in produce. I don't know
Thank you so much for making this organic milk. I was drinking like rock paste before. This is so awesome. You made milk organic. It's no longer inorganic.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to lack certain hormones or what synthetic hormones.
Yeah.
Woo, that's
Okay.
awesome. So it was
done?
organic either way.
Okay.
But I don't know, like,
Okay. From my understanding, organic is a term. Not that I was drinking raw paste before or whatever, but it's actually saying how the cow was treated before producing that. So,
But
I'm
that's not
against-
organics, that's ethical. And then they have to like treat the animal ethically, and that's a lie because they don't treat the animal ethically. So it's like, oh, so you're doing the same shit with slightly less ingredients in the manufacturing process, and you want me to pay $6 more for it? Eat my asshole with your cunt. Shut the fuck up. I don't like organics industry. It sucks asshole.
it is
It's-
a lot of it is absolutely a ripoff. Like, especially with produce. Like, they're like, oh well, we're the healthy, eco-friendly alternative, buy organic, and it's actually worse. Like, there's more food waste comes out of organic produce
or
industry.
worse, pesticides.
Yeah, and there's like they're claiming that it's like, and you end up having to pay
You got
more. And
really
they're,
excited there.
I
Okay.
know.
I started following. Okay. I will say this. I started following a YouTuber named Carnivore MD or Dr. Salandino. He has a crazy picture with his eyes glowing. And he talked about a lot about, the different nutrients and things like that. And that's something I hadn't considered. And some things he does look at are raw milk is good, cream, and also getting grass-fed, grain-finished cow. And I do taste the difference.
All cows are grass fed.
But they do give them a lot of GMO, soy and corn and garbage.
Yeah, but that's just saying that it's a non-GMO cow, not that it's grass fed. Everything that cows get fed is waste grass.
Okay, but
Hey,
There-
my mother, this is the problem talking to me about this subject, is that my mother and father were both involved in ag, and my mother went to an ag college, and my father ran a nursery. And so I'm like very, very well versed in this shit, enough to be annoying about it. So when I hear grass fed, they don't like it's okay. So two perspectives. First off, it's the same people that like promote grass fed that promote like the idea that cows are bad for the environment, because look at all this grain that we gave them. Well, this was waste grain. It was going to waste if the cows didn't eat it. And you vegan bitches that like make this fucking point, like fuck every single one of you, because like ultimately when you get that, like those cheap vegan like goods on your plate, when you get that is the cream of the crop and not the waste grain that the same corporation raised, and the waste grain went to feed a fucking cow. So you got your cheap fucking vegetables and fruits because a cow ate the rest of it, you hypocritical stupid piece of shit. And so like the grass that they get fed is that it's just grass. It's fucking grass. I don't care. These people are stupid. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm of the, as far as like the the claim that animals are bad for the environment, I think that's ridiculous. Like, I think there's like, I go off on a tangent here for a sec, but like, I'm of the mindset that like people should, instead of relying on big ag, they should like make, create, raise, grow everything that they consume themselves, and then it wouldn't be a problem, because
More like
it's like
big
this
gag.
is
Go ahead.
like yeah, exactly. But like for like cows, for example, like there wouldn't be these like huge establishments with a bunch of cows and like this whole industry if people just like raised their own and like raised what they needed, instead of, oh, like let's hyper consume cows. Like, just raise what you need and let that be it. That it would be much more environmentally friendly
Or
if people did that.
or you can talk to your neighbor who does have a cow and buy a part of that cow when he kills it. instead of being like, oh, I have to go and pull something out of fucking styrofoam and plastic and like bullshit. I have to do that because that's the only way to get meat. No, it isn't.
A lot of people do that. They'll like a lot of like more country people, like rural people, will split it. Like neighbors will split a cow, and then like uh, a friend of mine, her and her neighbor split a cow and a pig, and then
So,
they
so your
like
neighbor had a cow.
ha 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 ha. But they had everything that they needed. Like all of their like meat was there at their
Yeah,
house.
it's where the term pork barrel spending comes from. It's pork barrel. You would put a pig on a barrel. You would cut up the pig.
I don't think I've heard that.
Oh, pork barrel spending is where it's like a piece carved off for like this thing, a piece carved off for this thing, and
Oh
then the
yeah.
scraps go to X, Y, and Z. Like the good stuff goes. Have neither of you heard pork barrel spending? Am I just old?
No,
Yeah.
but it makes sense.
No, but I like the idea.
Okay, well, there we go. That I guess that term did sort of die out, but like it was very well used in like the 50s to 70s region.
Oh
Eh?
yeah, I don't know. But yeah. So that's the mindset that I'm of, is that like that sort of thing could go on instead of everybody relying on big ag and these really unethical, disgusting facilities, like relying on that and
At the same
getting
time,
lower quality food, lower diverse food.
at the same time, like the fucking jungle is propaganda, and it was literally fiction, and people who believe that that's nonfiction are dumb. I just have to say that Upton Sinclair was basically a yellow journalist.
I missed part of that, trying to catch what the comment said. What?
Oh, I said the jungle, that book about like, oh, these factories, etc. Blah. The jungle is fiction, and he made that clear. So, but people who do neither of you know what the jungle is? Okay, the jungle is a book written by, I think, Upton Sinclair, if I remember correctly, and it's a book that like makes the meat industry look really bad, but it was basically propaganda. And like, yeah, the meat industry sucks, but like he made it like all dramatized and shit, and it was like a fiction book that he made clear was fiction. It's also very old. I'm realizing that I'm just old.
Somebody in the comments said you're a 30-year-old boomer.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I think that's BTY from the server, but
Oh yeah, I missed the username.
Might be.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
possibly. But yeah, that.
I like that idea. Also, I was going to ask, and I think you said no, but is there any place, like if you see any of these problems, to take any political action with like the Green Party or any environmentalist groups or anything like that? Or is it kind of more DIY type stuff?
I am of the DIY variety. I don't like, I'm at a point where it's like I recognize that other people trust these methods, other people are going this route. It's not my jam. Like that's not my thing. I'm very much a roll my sleeves up and do it myself type of person, and I want to impart that and a problem solver mentality into the people around me and solve problems. Like looking at these issues from a problem solver perspective and doing it ourselves. I don't know. I like that. That seems more effective.
also decentralize it. You don't need Greenpeace or Sierra Club or PETA if you just do your fucking shit. Like, start your own group. Do it now. Do it tomorrow.
Yeah, like that's like taking initiative is a big deal, and like I'm like talking about personality traits, but taking initiative and being a problem solver is a huge part of being an anarchist, and like that's very much important here too. Like those are things that I hold dear about myself, and yeah, I want to impart that onto other people.
Nice. I think one thing maybe where we might disagree is I am for nuclear energy and fossil fuels, though. Right now, if there's a better way, and we find Nikola Tesla's stuff,
Thorium.
I don't know what that means.
It's a type of nuclear reaction that's much safer and much higher yield than like with lower waste.
Mm-hmm.
So
People should invest in thorium.
I think UEC would be a good one to get some stocks of those, but I'm not quite sure yet. But I can look into that as well. That being said, what
Thorium.
He
Okay.
talked me into that too, so it's okay.
Okay, but I guess from your perspective, like if I'm an anarchist and I want to utilize an energy source, what is fossil fuels,
Thorium.
nuclear energy? Well, I'm asking her, and I get it. Like you keep saying that.
Well, I also co-sign that belief, so I understand. Like, but it's like, and it's actually been a while since we talked about that. But yeah, like I haven't really thought about it in a while. But
Yeah.
I just don't like it's. I usually am not thinking about like energy sources, I guess. So
Well, vertical turbines are a good thing, like because those don't kill birds.
oh my god,
you could-
the gasoline smell.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm a bird. I
So-
like birds. I never used to think about energy either, to be honest. But then the World Economic Forum and people are like, "Ha, we're going to destroy the energy grid." I'm like, "Okay, what are we gonna do here?"
vertical wind farms. That's a good option for when it's windy. You can install like a few solar panels for when it's not, because it's most of the time there's enough wind that you can make these vertical wind farms work. And then for the rest of it, recycle your shit and burn the methane gas.
That could work. I mean, the hard part.
Oh, that was the thing I wanted. This is kind of off in the weeds, but it was related to a previous point. You said that we should pay attention to recycling, and I wanted to remind everyone that only 9% of recycled goods actually gets recycled. And it's not actually an answer. It's just a Band-Aid on a bullet wound, and we should all go zero waste.
Also, like, there are 3 R's to the recycling triangle. It's reduce, reuse, recycle. So, yeah, recycle the stuff that can be.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you can tell pretty easily. So, first off, your Amazon packages, all of those can go in a bag bin in a grocery store. You can put those there. And so that, but like, for instance, this is about a year old. It's a ramen.
I saved those too.
Yeah, and like it's a microwavable container that I use until I start to see plastic come off it, and then I throw it away because there's plastic coming off of it. But like it's number 5. So if you look at your thing here, it's number 5 HDPE. It's really good if you want to dissolve a body, but it's not good if you want to recycle it, because number 5 HDPE is resistant to degradation, which is why it makes it very good for dissolving a body. And so, like, you want 1 or 2 if you want to recycle, and if you don't see those numbers, and if it doesn't have extra instructions on how to get it there, then you can't recycle it, even if it has a little triangle on it.
But you can, like, also, instead of, well, I don't know what condition those containers are in when, like, there's plastic coming off of it or you're ready to dispose of it, but, like, if it's in decent enough condition, you could use it to start seedlings.
Yeah.
Which is
you
what I
poke
use
holes in the bottom and chuck it in your garden bed.
Yeah, like that's what I would use it for starting seedlings and hardening them off.
Or you could put, like, if you get an aquaponics / hydroponics setup, you could get a seed starting shelf with UV lights on it, and you could put these in that.
Yeah.
They're very low profile. You could put these little peat pots together, like with your hands instead of buying them, and it'd be cheaper that way too. and then you put them in these fucking shelves and you start your seeds.
Yeah. You can do that with yogurt containers too. The big yogurt containers are better for like bigger plants. Like once they're already started and up a decent size, like you can harden them off to outside weather. That would be like the ideal size for that. But I eat Greek yogurt, so like I get yogurt containers.
So this is a lard tub. I buy 4 pounds of lard at a time, and I eat a pound of lard a week minimum. This is a tub you can use. This is a big fuck yogurt container that you can get if you buy big fuck yogurt containers, and you can reuse that. This is a cream cheese container. You can reuse that. I reuse everything that I buy in that vein because I'm not gonna fucking throw it out if I buy it. I bought that. I spent like my supporters' money on it. I don't waste supporter money. Feel free to support me by my Patreon link. I don't waste supporter money, and I'm not going to waste the tub that I got. I use these to store food in my fridge. That's what I use it for. My fridge and freezer. I make big ass fucking bone broth batches, and I freeze half of it, and then I've got half of it that's just a gel in my fridge. And then when the gel in the fridge is like half done, I start to thaw the frozen bullshit, and then I've got unfrozen bullshit, and I've got mineral and fat and protein supplements for like a while. And I wouldn't have a container for that like, you know, I didn't have to pay extra for if I hadn't have saved this. And because I saved this, it didn't go to a landfill to just be a part of the human problem, the human contagion, where we're a sore on the planet.
Yeah, that's a concept in zero waste, or are you still calling it waste reductionism?
So waste reductionism is like waste reductionism. It's like 7 syllables, so I just say I'm anti-waste now.
Okay, well that's fine. But like, so I just go all in and try to live zero waste as possible, and like,
which is why we need to get rid of the state so we can collect rainwater, so we can have raw
there's
milk.
so many interesting ideas that could be implemented once the state is gone.
See, JC, just because he's saying this, I don't throw it out, but that doesn't mean that I am the only one who uses them. For instance, I buy eggs from Walmart or something. I've got cartons. The previous batch of, like, it was a large batch of cartons, got sent to a local church, which used them as part of a food bank. And like basically local farmers would give their surplus eggs to these people, and they would put these eggs in these used cartons that I provided to them. And some of them went to soundproofing people's rooms, even though that doesn't fucking work. But whatever, if they want to think it does and it just doesn't go to waste, then that's fine. You know, like, I don't hoard. If I need to get rid of something, I find a use that somebody else can use it for and give it to them, or I put it on free cycle or something. For instance, I had some of those plastic tubs that were used for my bone broth, that I also gave to some housemates who were interested in buying bone broth from me. You can do that. Like, if you don't have these containers, though, for some reason you can't do that. So it's less that I'm hoarding, and it's more that I'm willing to like recognize the potential of the materials that I buy.
It certainly takes a level of creativity, and like I think it's interesting. Like the dilemma, the problem solving process that you go through, like that's very interesting to me. So
yeah. I think what's interesting, like what we were saying, like let's say the state is gone. Let's say just for,
JC he says he was joking. I recognize that, but this is also a practical episode of how to do this stuff, so I figured that I would explain that.
Oh yeah, all good. But yeah, let's say the state is gone. You know, no WEF Bilderberg, all those are gone. No more Darth Brandon or Deep State Dawn, and the state governments collapse, and let's say most of the local governments are gone. what are some things you would implement or do with Green Anarchy and the other forms of anarchism?
Okay, so there's this really good. So my friend JD showed me this. I guess it's an essay or a paper. It's called "Take What You Need," and I think it's "Take What You Need and Compost the Rest." And I think that's what it's called. Fantastic essay piece, whatever. But basically, it talked about how instead of there he is. Instead of like landfills, we would have like ideally we could have um like scrap yards, or like sort of like a scrap yard, but having like things grouped together, I guess, and people could come source from that. Like if they're going to make something, they can source their materials from this place that would otherwise be a landfill, but instead
And
it's
free
a
cycle.
yeah, like that too. Recycle. Yeah.
And like so you're what you're proposing is a community junkyard.
Yeah,
And I do
basically.
not mind that. Although in this modern fucking bullshit society that I'm going to make a YouTube friendly comment about what people who boost and support that should do. Those people should do that. But just like have a waiver, like have terms and conditions that people swipe on their phone or something to prevent liability, because somebody's gonna say, "Ow, I cut my thumb on a rusty piece."
Well, that's like, I say do everything at your own discretion. That's why people are scared of, actually. To me, I think why people are scared of anarchy or even minarchism is that, oh, I have to take responsibility into my own hands or get help from my neighbors. That there's no backdrop. There's no
I
magic.
have to take responsibility, and also there's decision fatigue. Like I've seen that too, where people are like, "Oh, well, that seems reasonable, but what do we do now?" And they get like super locked up in that. What do we do now? What do I do now? And it's like, what the fuck do you want to do? Like you have, they get decision fatigue because they're used to the state saying you have this option or this option, and that's it. It's like there's a million of options that you can choose from. You're not bound to what the state says. Like even now that we still have the state, like a lot of times you're not.
Oh, look, a reused Powerade bottle.
Wild.
I'm going to use this to probably plant some stuff and have fun with it. But
you can make cups out of that.
Huh?
You could make cups, like drinking glasses. You could just make a drinking glass out of it.
I could. But I guess the interesting thing to me is I was talking to a pharmacy student, and we were talking about the medical procedure the establishment wants you to take and the scary beer flu.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually got down to, okay, you say all these things, but what if we just got rid of the CDC or the FDA? He's like, I don't know about that. Why don't you just scale them back? I'm like, no, get rid of them. Like I'm an ANCAP. I don't play this just decrease it 10% or 50%.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to do that, go play Red Wave and think it does something. But I said no, get rid of them. They're like, you can't do that though. Why couldn't I do that? Like,
the ironic thing is, Red Wave could be a menstruation joke.
It definitely could, and I want to say that about the moon too. But he's like, no, Kareem, we can't get rid of that because people wouldn't know what to do. They look to the CDC and FDA for medical advice. I'm like, what about WebMD? What about doctors on YouTube? What about
don't do your own research? Don't hesitate. Just do what we say.
Yeah.
And for your own good.
I think people can't fathom, because of no imagination, what it would be like if they had to say, oh, I have to make my own health decisions now. So I got to, try this, see if it works. Try this, see if
it's that problem solver mentality. It's beaten out of us as children in the government indoctrination day camps. We're basically like, yeah, I think I stole that from Jeremiah, but that's basically what it is. And they beat that out of you. They take out they're like, oh, don't have critical thinking. Don't be a problem solver. Don't think for yourself. Don't question us. And people grow up with that mentality. It's like not even necessarily their fault. It's just how it happened. That's how the chips fell. And
Or they mentally stagnate and never really grow up because of that mentality.
I mean, yeah, that's also a result of that. But yeah, like people don't like they get decision fatigue and like get overwhelmed by too much choice. And it's like you can, and like if anybody here suffers from that, like you can absolutely fix that. That is a fixable thing. Like you're not stuck like that. So
Yeah,
like,
and
get
that's the biggest thing. I don't
overwhelmed
get that.
with too much choice. Like there are ways it can be worked through. My
Mhm.
DMs are open.
I think what got me, actually, funny enough, what got me into anarchism was not even Ron Paul. It was when I was like 12 or 13. I found a punk band named Crass. That's why I posted No Authorities Yourself. I've been listening to them more. And Penny Rambard had a very interesting look at the world. He said what he was trying to do with his punk band is essentially do kind of two polar opposites. He said, on one hand, we said, like, no authorities yourself, so get out of your own way and life's your responsibility. On the other hand, we were opposed to the material world, so we'd hand out pamphlets that some of them would say, here's how to make your own petrol bombs, and then the next chapter would say, here's how to make your own bread. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
that's kind of an interesting dichotomy. But yeah, I started to really take a look at the DIY methods from the old school hippies, punk bands, different bohemian concepts, and I really start to like that. Now, I did have a problem where I got stuck on technology for a while, so I'm trying to see the fundamental balance between both of them, like the right amount of technology to use so I don't become indentured to it or in the system that the elites want, but also how can I utilize everything around me and also figure out a good balance between that and a good balance between, just doing projects myself and creating my own ways to sustain.
2 books, 101 Deadly Skills and the sequel by Clint Emerson, ex-SEAL. He goes over in the first book a bunch of like infiltration and how to be a gray man and the violent nomad workout and a bunch of shit like that. And then the second book is all about survival and how to live off very little or nothing in the wilderness.
Oh, nice.
Really useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get pitifs of these on Lean.
But it's yeah.
I like it. I like it. And I think that's kind of like, because the problem is, I'm pro-capitalism, but I'm not pro-consumerism in the fact that I think it's a good idea that free markets exist so people can come up with their own creations. Like if
Free
people
markets don't exist.
I mean, they do.
No, there's just less
Oh my
controlled
God.
markets.
What do you consider a flea market? Who's the overlord?
A flea market can be shut down by the state. The existence of the state precludes freedom everywhere. It's a fundamental threat that must be crushed.
But if there's a flea market with no state as a backdrop, then it is a free market.
The state is a backdrop
What about
over all
places-
existence.
What about places where agorism is occurring currently?
Yeah. That's a
Agorism
flea
is
market.
agorism is gray and black markets, and the reason they're gray and black and not just another example of white is because they're considered like legally gray and or just illegal, which means that
That's
the state
free,
is
though.
which means that the state is informing the nature of those markets and the conditions by which they exist. The black and gray markets exist by way of securing against statist intervention, and have a whole lot more trappings than a truly free market would have. I push for a society where we have a free market, but we're not quite there yet anywhere.
I mean, no, I wouldn't say
No,
that
no, we don't
with
have-
any like substantial impact that we're there, but
And of course, like the closest you can get is things like Silk Road, and the state is very clear about what's going to happen to you if you do try to build a free market.
Yes. No, and that I don't disagree with you on.
Hashtag free Ross, hashtag Lynn is based.
Yes. Definitely free Ross. Free Ross, free Assange, free Snowden, and free Ted Kaczynski. That's the one that I think they're like, oh, that's controversial. No, I think his
No.
manifesto had some. I think looking at everything that Ted Kaczynski said, I don't agree with all of his actions, but I do agree that his manifesto had some good, reasonable things to be suspicious of AI and just pushing technology to no bounds, like it's some secular god.
Hmm.
And JC, I'm not saying they're not useful. I support and promote agorism. I'm saying that they're not truly free markets. That's all I'm saying. Like, so if we recognize that, we won't get complacent, and we won't say that because we have agorism, we don't need other things, or we can just ride that out.
My thing with him was the incest, like all the leftist talk and the who he targeted. Like, I think his aim was misguided.
Also, his pipe bomb sucked.
That too. Let's be real.
I mean, hey,
But like, he
he's
made
trying.
that. Like, I made this for you. I don't remember that Julian Smith video.
I do not.
I'll send it to you later. But basically, like, yeah, he made those. But yeah,
Okay.
I think his aim was off.
Nice. So basically everything. What the nice thing actually, though, I think I found is I agree with you on probably like 95 or 99% of everything, even though like maybe there's some different ideas and like how we'd approach anarchy. That's actually really cool to see that we agree on most things.
Overlap? We can have solidarity across different and isolated groups. We don't have to be isolated anymore.
Yes.
Tell that to the Hoppians and you'll get thrown out of a helicopter.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, I don't mind some of Hans Hermann Hoppe's stuff. He had some very good criticisms of democracy, which I keep bringing up to people because that's all I hear today is like, oh my God, the midterms, the Republicans are threatening my democracy. I'm like, well, Hans Hermann Hoppe said it's a soft variant of communism. It's really good for anything. So
yeah, but it's not. And also, Biden is a threat to democracy too, because democracy is allegedly the control of the state by the people, and it's always been a lie.
But
Biden is anti-democracy. He controls shit too.
To me, I don't think Biden knows where he's at. Let's be honest, like Biden probably.
His handlers probably know more than he does.
Biden plays an old fool on TV. Biden is a piece of shit behind the camera.
I don't trust him.
I'm not saying he's good at all.
I get why people think that he's like off his rocker, but like. I also like I don't trust a man with a tan. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got like a orange line around his face.
Yeah, everybody likes to say orange man bad with Trump, but like he's orange too.
Biden is orange too.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
and he wears a suit, which is like auto sus.
Yeah, and he also likes khakis. Khakis are bad.
Yeah, khakis are bad for him.
No, they're not.
Khakis are bad.
Homeboy Leeson, is dropping easy pace. Leeson's like the Rothbard of our time, and he wears khakis, so khakis are okay.
Yeah, but khakis suck.
Yeah, but he broke anarchy into different cases and explained how the Ricardian law of association could
He wouldn't survive in Somalia in those khakis. They're not durable enough to survive the conditions.
Yeah, he would, because he understands how Zir works, so he'd go to the clan elders and say, here's how I propose we use.
Awesome. Have you ever lived in the desert, Kareem?
Well, yeah, I actually have family in Egypt, and I went to visit them, and it's technically a desert.
But lived for a prolonged
there.
Because I'll tell you, when you start to sweat, and your balls are chafing against the interior of that crotch in those khakis, it's gonna wear a hole real quick.
Oh my God.
Why do you hate khakis so bad?
Because they suck and they're a boring color and they're for boring people who are into corporate mainstream garbage.
You can't.
A lot of Austrian economists wear them who are pretty good at.
They also wear bow ties, and bow ties suck too.
Bow ties are worse. Bow ties are worse.
Why is that
okay, now let me tell you why. Because like as somebody who is like roll your sleeves up, rough and tumble, like do it myself kind of person, like someone wearing khakis and argyle socks and a bow tie is not going to be willing, is less likely to be willing to roll their sleeves up and get dirty and get things done and bulldoze through problems. Like it's like, I don't know, it's like a corporate standard. Like you're telling people that you follow a corporate standard of aesthetic, and
Yeah.
I am
It's signaling that you're a corporate bitch.
basically,
I mean,
and it's like you
okay.
could
And
not
also,
do
and
that.
also,
Okay,
Patriot
right,
Eek in
no.
chat says something based. He said, "Did you see the photo when people proved Biden had his pants on backwards?" Speaking of khakis, and he also says, "Fight Club quote: You are not your khakis."
Okay, but here's the thing: Homeboy Rothbard rocked that bow tie. You know.
Yeah, but he looked bad in it too. He looked like a nerd.
Okay, who cares? Like
I do.
thing.
We should
I
have
can still-
Ted
I can
K
look
look
at a garden
practical
and wear a
because he
suit.
actually did
Burn
his
your
shit
khakis.
himself.
I can wear a suit. I can wear a nice sport jacket.
You're not
and-
gonna wear a nice
No.
sport jacket in your garden.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
That's
get
the
it.
thing.
I'm not, but I can wear a nice sport jacket out to an event and work
Why
in-
is it a nice
this is
sport
not-
jacket? It's just worthless.
this
It's
is not a
not.
personal attack. This is just saying like the likelihood. This is statistics, Kareem. This is statistics.
See, the
like,
problem I have is
The likelihood.
Like, see, I went for a
Jeremiah's gonna
12.5 mile run, and I did it in denim motherfucking jeans.
That's
You can
fine.
wear fucking
I don't
more
care if you do
practical
it in
clothing.
shorts
At
or
the end of the
jeans or-
stream, he's gonna burn his khakis.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I feel like you hate khakis because some Austrian economists wear it who you don't agree with, who you're going to say are part of the Koch department.
No, I hate them because a bunch of people I hate wear them.
Well, I hate
And
them
because the
they're-
reason they wear them is the
corporate
same
standard.
reason I hate them.
Well,
Like he says.
Rothbard looked good in a suit and tie.
But it's,
So
did
Ron
it's
Paul.
playing into the corporate standard of
Yup.
beauty, and it's
Ron
like
Paul.
you could
He wore a
not
suit.
do that. And
It's like what Alex Jones said. You put on this ski on in order to be inducted into the Brotherhood. It's fucking signaling that you're a bitch.
Oh, wait, so signaling does work.
I didn't
What's
say
that?
it didn't.
Oh, okay. So we got easy case anarchy.
But that's not easy case anarchy because easy case anarchy is bullshit. You can signal statism. Signaling isn't inherently anarchist.
I
but
mean, it
corporations are that's where that came from, though. Like the shave your face, cut your hair, put on like button down and khakis, and
wear a fucking tie
argyle.
so that you can be easily choked by your attackers.
your argyle socks, like your loafers, like that comes from corporations. It's a corporate standard of beauty or attractiveness or presentableness
Mhm.
that they create. And like we're already saying fuck corporations. So
See,
and, like,
but-
we oppose the products that they push on us with their standard. So
And also, like,
why
Eek
wear
is in
their
chat.
clothes?
Yeah. And Eek is in chat saying, I'm okay with bow ties as long as you're not a sexual predator. But the fact that you thought about it kind of says everything, doesn't
Oh
it?
my god.
And also, JC is being based right now by saying he used to dress nicer when he had an office job, and that he's been working manual labor for years now, and he's simply stopped caring about fancy clothes and embraced simple blue collar clothing because it's better.
Well, it's usually better quality, and also it doesn't stem from corporations, which we're already trying to get rid of because
Yeah.
they're an arm of the state.
This shirt, for instance, this is the type of button-up shirt I will buy. Why? Because it's from a brand that I found out makes very high quality, like tear and rip resistant, like cut resistant ish fabrics that will stretch with you, meaning that it's very hard to break these particular things. And this shirt, this one has lasted me nearly a year now. The previous one lasted me probably, I want to say like 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
and then like only then did it become thin enough in the arms that it started to rip. But like this shirt, I would buy this shirt. I would buy a lot of these shirts because it's durable enough that I could work in it, and I've done a lot of work in this shirt. Like, and I went for my 12.5 mile run in this shirt just now.
Yeah.
Like, it's much more practical because it was designed
Yes.
for practicality, and that's
Those
also
are
why
good
it's like
uses.
$100+ shirt. But like, I got it at a Goodwill outlet because I did circular economy.
But I agree with you. If you're doing manual labor, if you're working in your garden, if you're going for a run,
If you're doing real work, sorry, go ahead.
But if you are teaming up with David Nolan to save humanity,
David Nolan sucked. His chart is bullshit.
no, he doesn't.
Yeah, his chart is bullshit.
Him and Rothbard, as far as I'm concerned, laid the foundation to free humanity.
Rothbard, maybe. Nolan got sold out of the Coctopus real quick. Rothbard got kicked out of the Cato Institute, and Nolan fucking wrote it out.
Nolan still did contribute a lot to the Libertarian Party.
I don't care. Konkin and Rothbard were so much better.
Okay, I don't disagree with you, but hey, Rothbard rocked.
And you know who else is better than David Nolan? David Friedman.
Yes.
People don't talk about him. We're mutuals on Facebook. He's
like
much better. You know, Stefan Kinsella is better than David Nolan because he has better views on IP. Fucking, I could just keep listing fucking people, yo.
They probably didn't consider that, like, where that idea comes from, like, where the trends of like aesthetic standards comes from. Like, it comes from corporations, which are an arm of the state,
and those corporations got it from royalty, and
we're trying to get rid of that. So, like, why don't we get rid of the products of that as well?
Like a lawn.
They don't make sense. Like a lawn.
Okay, I'm not opposed to if people want to do that. I'm also not opposed to people.
That's a wild rabbit hole if you want to go down that, like, sometime.
Yeah, we can have another episode on that. I'm all about individual freedom, and I guess I'm more on the individualist, anarchist, and cap side. So if someone wants to buy, because I bought Hollister clothes to look cool in high school. And
yeah, but you didn't look cool because it's Hollister.
Maybe I did. I mean, I got some dates out of it. So.
Fucking a Hollister and Aeropostale. Yeah, but how many of those people are you still with?
Not none of them. But
oh wow. I wonder why.
I bought everything I'm wearing secondhand. And
but now I shop at Goodwill.
Secondhand.
Now I shop at Goodwill.
Good.
And here's the thing. To me, I'm not necessarily like 100%. You have to wear this or you don't have to wear that. If somebody wants to wear,
people don't have to wear what I want, but they can look fucking stupid if they want.
Can you not interrupt me? But
yeah, good.
If someone's wearing a bow tie and khakis or a nice button down, and they have some good ideas about how social cooperation can work or how Austrian economics can be presented, and they have some good ideas about that, like Hans Hermann Hoppe, Rothbard, or the Rothbard of our time, Leeson, then I'm going to sit and listen to them. If Stefan Molyneux wore something nice, I wouldn't say like, oh my God, Stefan Molyneux put a suit and tie on. Help. I can't.
Right.
Stefan Molyneux is famous for doing his streams in a t-shirt, so that's a bad example.
I very seldom comment on people's clothing. Like, I don't do that very often. Like, what should be important is their ideas, what they're doing. That's not really like the important thing. But since we're talking about corporations and the circular economy and environmentalism, I thought I would bring that up as well. Because
bring that up. Sort of like things get brought up. Sort of like things get brought up when I see somebody in khakis, just like. Well,
but people don't consider these things like that. Like, anarchism can manifest this way. Like, people don't take it as far, or they don't know that they can take it as far as like getting rid of the products of corporations as well as corporations.
But I mean, like, okay, fine. Here,
but I'm not going to disregard somebody.
If
somebody in khakis is sitting next to me, I'm not going to be like, aha, stupid.
I'm gonna be like that, but I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna listen to them.
But that's the thing. You're like, well, you know what Leeson's wearing. I'm like, I don't care, dude. Like,
Well, yeah,
look,
but he's also wrong. So
I mean, he's not. But all right,
he
we're
is.
talking about. Hey, look at this guy. Oh, look, he got a nice suit kind of thing. And
Yep.
Dude's chilling. Yeah. Looks
Yeah,
good.
they all dressed kind of like
that
that during those times. So
help Bakunin wore something nice.
but see,
No,
Bakunin to me looks just
Syndicalism is wrong.
well, Bakunin was an ANCOM, not a syndicalist. You're thinking
fine.
Kropotkin, but like either way, like Bakunin looked kind of disheveled like all the time, like all those people did. I don't like how any of those people looked really.
I mean,
Spooner
again,
Spooner got close.
Yeah, Spooner
I
looked
don't
good.
think that we should be focusing on, like, if somebody's presenting ideas, I don't think that their aesthetic should necessarily be the focus. Like,
Sure, but their aesthetic is in my mind. It's
right,
there.
it's something that
It's
is
added
thought
to
about,
file system.
and it is relevant to this
Added to file
conversation, but it's not something that comes up all the time, or even most of the time.
Like Jeremiah's like, oh my God, Spooner wore a nice suit.
Well, but Spooner didn't normally. He wore more practical things because he was all about homesteading and rolling his sleeves up. And also, Eek, you say you wear cargo pants, which are just khakis with extra pockets. See, but you don't have to wear the khaki cargo pants. Cargo pants is a model, not a material. So you could get cargo pants in denim. Oh, shit. So you could get cargo pants in denim or canvas or something. Like you could get it in a better material.
I got a great plan. What if you're an anarcho-capitalist and the state's gone, and then you have a lot of capital and you start building your little food gardens, and then you hire people to help make more and more food gardens, and then you start to make residual income off of that, and then hey, maybe you can buy a nice suit and go out to dinner. Help anarchy.
But
If
why
you
would
want,
you do that when
Hey,
you could just cook
hey,
at home?
and you know, if we're talking about that,
Not against
then
restaurants.
I'll say something that'll piss off all your conservative viewers and just say, yeah, sure, we can buy a nice suit. I'll buy a fursuit just to piss those people off.
Oh my
I
god!
don't have conservative viewers that I know of.
You have conservative viewers. Come on, Damien was right there at the beginning, yo.
Yeah, I mean, fine.
Yeah, it's a shift in
I used to like
mindset.
Nick
Like
Fuentes.
you could be like, oh yeah, well I want to go out to eat, but most of the time that's a corporation you're relying on. Like you're giving money to a corporation to do that. Now, if you go to like a small business, that's different. Like if you go to a little mom and pop place, like I love those stores, by the way.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, like there are good restaurants here that make pizza from scratch and stuff, and they don't have chains. So, like, yeah, I'm not against someone like, well, I want to go. Yes, I cook at home a lot, but sometimes, and I'm not saying this is because of the state. Sometimes, yeah, I want to go out and to a restaurant,
to a place and eat.
I don't see any problem with that. Like, I want to
go to a restaurant and eat, and if they won't let you in with khakis, then redacted.
I mean, I actually like the redacted channel for one thing, and two,
no, redacted as in redact the thing that I would say to do to the restaurant if they won't let you in without khakis.
I mean, it's their private property. That's kind of
I don't step shyly back from their property. It's funny the thought of doing it. I'm probably not going to do it because it would ruin my ability to interact in the local economy. But ultimately, like,
your reputation,
yeah,
presented by a guy in khakis who would.
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't be a guy in khakis.
Well, because of a guy in khakis, now I can explain to people the fundamental ideas of the folk theorem, and I can say, hey, here's how easy case anarchy can work based on.
If you want to use the wrong words to describe what it is,
it's not.
It is.
Oh yeah, so
he's a professor at George Mason University. I'm going to trust him. I like his work.
Ooh, he has a title.
I mean, he got that through hard work.
Ooh, he got it through hard work. That means he can't be wrong. I'm pretty sure Karl Marx had some titles. I didn't know you were a Marxist.
I'm not a Marxist.
Awesome. So guess the title doesn't mean shit, and we can still criticize people's ideas even if they're in khakis and work at a college.
You can. I'm saying the reason I like what he did is not necessarily because, okay, fine, he has a title and stuff like that, but he has put the work and time into writing.
Yeah, and if he
this
didn't call it
story.
Easy Case Anarchy, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If he just called it like a theory of human cooperation, that would be better. But it's not anarchy.
He does through the Ricardian Law of Association, and I've
Okay.
read it.
Awesome. So he uses a Ricardian theory, which was made by like a different person than him, and that theory was fine already. And
why you gotta be like that?
Well, because you're bringing up Leeson. I'm going to talk about it. I don't hate Leeson, just to be clear. I just think he's wrong.
I don't. I don't. I honestly think
that is up to you.
Yeah, I honestly think a lot of his ways of looking in the world, I 100% agree with. Except I can't really defend any more Somalia's anarchists, but I say it's a tribal society that was closer to complete decentralization than normal. So there, you got me. But yeah, no, Erica, thank you very much though for taking the time, and I think we got a lot of good content here, and I'm really, really happy that you did take some time and talk about these things, because I do want to build relationships with other anarchists, fundamentally because of understanding the Ricardian Law of Association, which he did not create, but the idea of social cooperation is fundamental to human civilization, and because of that, that's one reason I think anarchists from different ideas, different backgrounds need to sit down and just talk about different ideas, see where they agree, where they don't, and then reconcile where they don't. And even people, who say
and
like
form networks where they do.
And form
what
networks.
If I have a standing desk?
What does that
should have a standing desk.
Well, because you said that we need to sit down. I might want to stand. This is anarchy after all. Just
okay, you can sit down, Mike.
why would I? Okay, so just so we're clear,
difficult.
I can, yeah.
I don't know, dude. Like,
you just reached the exasperation point of the stream.
Yeah. But I just want to let you know, man. I just want to let you know we are striking back. The LP is striking back. My homeboy at the MC just dropped some cool stuff. I see some gold on the map. I see so maybe some people in khakis and some Austrian economics.
Oh my God, don't internalize that. Don't internalize the khaki comment. Don't internalize it.
I'm just giving. Well, it's still in the comments, so I'm just messing. But no, hey, I'm starting to see some
khakis are definitely not better for standing desks.
We're gonna start a revolution, an anti-khaki revolution.
Because you're gonna be. Yeah. So the thing about standing desks is that you're going to be moving like a lot more in verticals. And the thing about khakis is that they're fine if you're sitting down, but you're moving a lot more when you're in a standing desk, which is kind of part of the point. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend khakis for a standing desk either. Like they make canvas pants and denim that are much better for it.
Okay.
And also you can walk outside and use those instead of like ripping them because they're made of an inferior material.
Well, based on reputation and what I need, I'll make a decision based on that, and that's an easy case thing because I'm making a decentralized decision, even in the shadow of the state.
Well, you can call it easy case if you want, but I'm going to say that reputation isn't like fundamentally an anarchist principle, and a good example of that is Patagonia, which has a reputation.
No, it okay, fine.
For being, which has a reputation for being awesome, and the guy like gave himself his company and acted like that was a fucking awesome thing to do for the environment, and got Nobel Peace Prizes, but he was really just a piece of shit.
Okay, fine. It's not an inherently anarchist concept, but it can be used to enforce different interactions in a decentralized fashion without a central institution.
Sure.
And signaling is a higher level of that. And that's how he was delineating it down from easy case to hardest case to hardest case.
But it's not a case.
I think the Austrians do the best deep dive into how these systems work. And
You're
then
right.
from that, we
Hazlitt
can
did it better,
delineate-
and so did Mises.
Fine in some senses, but the Rothbard of our time is pretty good. And I will say, or the Mises of our time as well. And I will say, based on those observations, we can then build a framework for a society that does work with all these different types of ideas, including primitivism, green anarchism, syndicalism, transhumanism, pacifism, and agorism. So that's how I look at it. But no, definitely, Erica, I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to have you back.
Yeah. We can possibly talk about ways to cut your dependence on corporations.
That would be great. That would be great.
And also egoism. She likes waffles.
Yeah, we'll get you some waffles. Lego my ego. But with homemade syrup.
Yes. See?
All right. So with that, other than that, my boy is having my co-host Leighton is having a midterm stream. I can invite all you guys if you want to do that.
It's so good that the youth are interested in politics.
You know what? We got gold on the map. Here's the thing. Part of me, okay, I get it. I know people are going to make a joke. I voted. You got the sticker. It's an OG card, whatever. Like, as far as I'm concerned, libertarians can win local elections, maybe even state elections. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, it's going to fix everything like CBDC, but it puts you a little closer to where you want to go. I don't see politics as a bad vehicle. I just see it as another tool that we have to use now. And then,
yeah, but you know who else got closer? Trent Reznor.
That's fine. So did Ross Perot.
No, he gets the joke. I don't think he did.
He's making a song joke. But
Many and counting your votes.
I feel like there's a
people.
lot of times there's the dilemma of like there's like one type of liberty-minded person who says like we should end the state, we should just go balls in and like get rid of the state.
You can do that now. They make attachments.
Oh my god. Shush. Anyway, but yeah, like they're like, we should end the state, we should make no compromises, we should bulldoze through this and get rid of them. And then there's like the like liberty-minded people who are like, well, I mean, I feel like we should use what we have right now, and there's like conflict there, and it's like we could like not do that, and we could just instead use that time to form networks where we do agree, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
$16.7 billion was spent on these midterms.
I don't
All
agree
I'm
with
saying.
that. I don't agree with that. Okay. I'm going to say this then here. I don't agree with a lot of this stuff. I don't like I don't like the spending of money. I don't like the stupid campaign ads, which I think everybody doesn't like. I haven't met a person like, oh my God, a John Fetterman or a Dr. Oz ad. You saved my life. Ads are stupid. The money's stupid. All this stuff is dumb. The LP doesn't do that, though. We're not spending tons of money. We're not coercing people. We're not putting out dumbass ads, although I would make some cool YouTube videos for them in the future. To me, the Mises Caucus is the one fundamental force that has shaken off a lot of corporate power, and we will shake off the Coctopus. And we're the one actually true force in the world politically that does believe in actual decentralization.
In the immortal words of Brian Warner, I'm on a campaign for pain, and when I get elected, I'll wipe the white off your house, the smile off your face. This is the Black Collar song. Put it in your middle finger and sing along. Use your fist and not your mouth.
All right. with that being said, I still believe in what the LP is doing. With that, I do want to thank you, Erica, very much again, and I'll
Yeah,
definitely
thank
have you on. If you want to come to our little midterm party, me, Leighton, and I think Nev will be there in a little bit, then feel free to do so. And Insanity is free. Jeremiah, thanks for coming on again. I enjoyed the commentary, even though I'm still going to drink organic milk. And
Well, hopefully the
keep-
rocks are very bad for you. You don't need that many minerals all at once.
yeah, that's fine. I'll get them all. So when the LP gets power, we can go battle, evil and defeat the
Yeah, but if
WEF.
you get too many minerals, you're just going to get organ damage. So you really
Oh my
shouldn't eat
God.
inorganic materials, is all I'm saying.
I eat, you know what? I drink mineral water and I eat Himalayan sea salt, and I've been feeling really good with intermittent fasting. So how about that? I don't know.
Hey, good, but you don't have mostly that. And your milk was never that. Like, it's not like you made the switch to, the organic stuff from the inorganic stuff.
All right, guys.
In fact,
Okay.
if you think about it, this stuff might be more organic. The stuff that isn't labeled that way because it has more things swimming around in it that you didn't.
Good God. All right. Well, I don't want to think about that. So, everyone, I'm Kareem, your host of the Essential Libertarians, giving you the tools for self-governance. We had the amazing Erica, Earth Nerd Anarchist. You can check her out on Twitter. And also, Insanity is free, Jeremiah Harding. Check out his work at Agris Nexus. If you like what he's doing, make sure to go to his Patreon and donate so he can keep up his work, even though he makes some crazy faces. All right, guys. Thank you very much.